2025 ran me down like a bulldozer, but in that weird way where you're like, ooh, do it again. It was one of the best gaming years of my entire life. Honestly, I was a starving medieval lad. I got exfoliated inside a haunted painting. I was a smoking hot woman, twice if you count Stellar Blade. But even in a miracle year like that, some games still managed to break my stupid little gamer heart. Not because they were disasters like Mind's Eye, but because I was excited for them and I believed in them and I wanted to love them, and they never even met me halfway. This video was supposed to come out in December, but I couldn't find a slot for it, so welcome to January, where we reopen the wounds and make them worse. Welcome to Dr. Melvo's Heartbreak Clinic. Let's get diagnosed, shall we?
Open that shit up!
We'll start with Oblivion Remastered, the 2006 classic, rebuilt on that strange Unreal Engine 5 plus Creation Engine hybrid, and shadow dropped in April. And for a moment, the internet completely lost its mind. Nostalgia alarms went off everywhere. Everyone suddenly remembered being 15 again. I wasn't actually an Oblivion kid. My PC back then could barely load the main menu. I was a Morrowind addict instead. So this remaster felt like the perfect excuse to finally experience Oblivion properly. 20 years later, in a better shape, with modern polish smoothing out the worst edges. And you know, for a few minutes it kinda worked. A familiar old thing in a nicer coat, still unmistakably 2006, but presented with a bit of respect to the source material. Oh! And then I stepped out of the starting dungeon and everything immediately fell apart like a house of cards. Massive stutters and constant hitches, the kind where the game feels like it's struggling to remember how to breathe. It was very rough, and I told myself, alright, this is why patches exist, right? This is why mods exist. I'll come back in 6 months once the dust settles. 6 months later, I started a new game, walked outside, and absolutely nothing had changed. Same stutters and same hitches. And I know the updates fixed a lot for a lot of people. Genuinely, I'm glad it worked for them, but it just didn't work for me. So Oblivion Remastered goes back on the shelf out of that quiet disappointment you get when something you are finally ready to love doesn't want to love you back. Next up is the Rise of the Ronin PC port, and before anything else, let me make one thing painfully clear. I love this game, not liked, not thought it was okay, I love it. The character creator is great, just right for my taste. The story is surprisingly earnest in that dim ninja way where everyone is 2 sentences away from a dramatic duel. The open world ended up being more engaging than I thought it would be. And the combat, man, it absolutely carries it for me. Rise of the Ronin made me even more excited for Nioh 3 going open world. And that's saying something because I already worship Nioh like it saved my family from a burning building. So why is it on this list, huh? Because this is a game I genuinely love that I can't comfortably play on the platform I own it on. It's like someone ported the game by photocopying each file individually. It's Wulong Fallen Dynasty all over again. And it's unfair. Usually console players should be jealous of PC players. We've got mods and we've got ultra-wide, but here it's the other way around. Ronin seems to run great on console, and meanwhile my PC, which can handle far more demanding games, is just over there in the corner wheezing like a Victorian child, like, turn it on! And it's not even a looker, man, which I don't mind. I actually like that older, crunchy visual vibe, but when a game that looks like crawled out of 2010 keeps dropping frames like this, it stops being charming and starts feeling downright insulting. Loading screens sometimes take 5 minutes. 5. At that point you start asking yourself, what am I playing here? Fallout 4 with 700 mods? Even with my absurd tolerance for jank and performance that occasionally bursts into flames, Rise of the Ronin still managed to break my heart. The next game that really disappointed me in 2025 was Monster Hunter Wilds, and once again, this mostly comes down to me being a PC player. If a PC port is bad, that's the version I'm stuck with, and Wilds launched rough. Like wipe your glasses 3 times and ask if your monitor is dying rough. I pushed through the awful performance and muddy visuals at first because the gameplay loop did hook me, new toy, shiny dopamine, that whole deal. But once the excitement faded and the new car smell wore off, what I was left with was a poorly running game whose core loop just stopped holding me for some reason, fizzled out. Which sounds like an insane thing to say about a Monster Hunter game, but there's a twist to it. After bouncing off Wilds, I went back to Monster Hunter World, a game I tried and failed to get into multiple times years ago. And suddenly it just devoured me. It clicked in a way it never had before. I still hop in randomly just to do hunts for fun. Monster Hunter Tourist Take incoming. Wilds didn't fail for me because it was bad or anything. It failed because it showed me what I actually love about Monster Hunter. World made me feel like a scientist, not just a hunter. Tracking monsters and studying their behaviors, learning the ecosystem. Everything there felt earned, especially running Greatsword with no focus mode. If I landed a hit, it was because I outplayed the monster or just got extremely lucky. Either way, it felt incredible. And Wilds, by comparison, felt more streamlined and less curious. It looks like there's more, but it actually feels like less. And I know that Monster Hunter games usually grow into something special over time. Capcom supports them for years with monsters and systems and big updates. Some games more than others, unfortunately. Monster Hunter isn't really about first impressions, it's a longer conversation, something I learned the hard way with World. So I'm coming back to Wilds later this year. Just this time with more context, more knowledge, and a better understanding of what Monster Hunter is actually trying to do. And finally, this is not even a game. God, I don't even know what it is. Fallout 4 Anniversary Edition. That whole thing felt like shitting in your cupped hands and just clapping. It's not a mandatory update for Fallout 4, it's a $20 add-on that bundles Creation Club content, some quests, some gear, some bits and pieces that nobody really asked for. Everything it adds, you can already get for free through mods, often better, often made by people who actually care about the game. And that's what makes this whole thing feel so gross to me. Bethesda has a very specific ecosystem. They release a game, it's messy, modders spend years fixing and expanding and refining it, and the game slowly becomes a comfort object for people. A decade later, Fallout 4 isn't alive because of these additions or because Bethesda kept nurturing it. It's alive because modders did unpaid labor for 10 years. And instead of respecting that, Bethesda looks at the stable community-maintained corpse and goes like, ha! What if we sold bits of this back to them? And yes, it's optional, you don't have to buy it, but here's the part that pisses me off about it. Bethesda knows how fragile mod ecosystems are, they know even minor updates can cause chaos, and they know people build entire comfort setups around these games, and they still push updates to a 10-year-old title to sell content nobody needed. I understand the business logic here, of course, TV show, synergy, Creation Club visibility, easy money. What I don't understand is the complete lack of shame required to say, let's touch this again, the fans will sort it out. Now, Fallout 4 isn't in my top 3 Fallout games, not even close, but it is my #1 comfort game. The one I go back to when life kicks me in the balls, man. This Anniversary Edition is a company revisiting a 10-year-old game, not to preserve it, but to squeeze more money out of it. Don't buy it, it's not worth it. If you own Fallout 4 Game of the Year Edition, you're genuinely better off sticking with or reverting to the last stable pre-next gen version. That's where I think the mod scene is more interesting, far more interesting. The Anniversary Edition doesn't add anything essential, the community already did that years ago for free. Fallout London, for example.
Evening.
So, let's count my losses. A remaster of a classic critically acclaimed RPG by a once respected studio runs like shit. An open world RPG set in Japan made by people behind one of the best action RPGs ever created runs like shit. A new monster hunting game gets stale fast and runs like shit. And a scam adjacent little marketing surprise by a once respected studio that ironically also runs like shit. Honestly, I should have just called this video 4 games that run like shit, but it's too late. Anyway, on a serious note, share what's been disappointing to you in 2025. You can also check out my other highly entertaining and deeply introspective videos. They're on the screen now. Thank you for your time. See you in the next one. Woo! Do it again.